My sister brought our kids over 2 weeks ago. In my office I have a vintage Marvel poster signed by Stan Lee and the artists of the poster. The poster is over 30 years old. Her son saw this and thought it was really neat and wanted me to give it to him. I tried being diplomatic but let him know that wouldn't happen. For certain reasons, my office door locks behind me and you need keys to open it. This is important. Fast forward the next day. We're going to the park and I can't find my keys. We're looking around the house and I hear her daughter yell out, "Oh no." And my sister and I go running. Her son has opened my office and climbed on the desk to get the poster down. In doing it he managed to tear it in half. I'm furious. This poster is not only irreplaceable, I got it signed with my now deceased grandfather. It has a lot of sentimental value for me. My sister completely blew this off. Hell, she even started giggling when her daughter said, "Oh no," the second time because she thought it sounded cute. She didn't offer me anything, even an apology. Her argument is that I should have had my keys on me because I should have somehow expected that her son would try to take it down from the wall. Dad and wife are firmly in my camp. Dad recognized how important this was to me because it was only a few days before he suddenly passed away and was the last thing we did together. My mom and sister are acting like it's no big deal. Sister ghosted me when I texted her asking about compensating me for the poster. In case anyone is wondering, when we moved into my house, we had the poster appraised at $3,000 due to the condition and rarity of this particular poster. I was informed after Stan Lee's death it went up, but we didn't have it reappraised. This particular one does go on eBay and unsigned fetch north of $2,000. When I served her, my mom called me up telling me it was no big deal and she said she found another poster on eBay, and when I saw the link, I realized it was completely different and wasn't signed or anything like that. It wasn't even the same year. Now sister is complaining to mom that I'm being mean for going after her and not taking her offer and instead making her pay for it. She thinks I should just let this go because kids will be kids, so, am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. She needs to teach her son that when someone says no, you can't have or touch something it means no. She is totally responsible for her son's actions because she should have taught him better. Sue her until you get the money. I wouldn't drop the lawsuit. Especially when it was something deeply sentimental to you. Your mom is also an idiot for siding with your sister in my opinion. Not the idiot. I have a 2-year-old and I watch him like a hawk at other people's houses. If he broke something I would absolutely offer to replace it, and I am by no means well off. They both owe you an apology. If he stole the keys and knew how to unlock the door, it makes me think that he's old enough to know what he was doing was completely wrong and she needs to pay you back. She should have been watching her child better. She is right, kids will be kids, to a certain extent, which is why, when you bring your kid near other people's possessions you assume the responsibility for keeping the destruction at bay. She neglected that, despite literally telling you it's predictable behavior. You're so not the idiot. Good for you to hold on to your boundaries, she has no respect for you, and thus you owe her no special consideration. Update. Mom is now in my corner. We hadn't really spoken about this much as I was pretty angry about things. She didn't realize that it was this one particular poster and she knew how much it meant to me. Right now she's trying to convince my sister of the seriousness of this. Update 2. Sister responded to the filling. Her argument is basically it's really mean that he's coming after me for a poster. I offered to buy him another one, but he said no, so I shouldn't have to pay anything. I've heard from dad that her husband is trying to convince her that this isn't going to go well for her and to come to a resolution. It's not even a money thing, she does well, and I'm not trying to destroy her. Update 3. The reality of this is setting in for sister. Her husband contacted me last night asking about repair costs and what I thought was fair compensation for this. He was really apologetic about this right now. I told him that it wasn't even a money thing for me, it was sister's behavior towards me about this. It's what the poster symbolizes for me. I'm looking at repair costs now however. Update 4. Well, I thought this would be dramatic, but it really wasn't. We did the court appearance via video conference. Judge was not hearing any of my sister's hemming and hawing about this. I was expecting to get the repair costs. They weren't cheap, that's for sure. I had 2 estimates and she didn't want to pay either. The judge had to tell her straight out offering to replace something with an appraised value that it had with something that isn't even in the same ballpark is unacceptable. I got the full appraised value, as the judge considered it the cost of replacement. Sister more or less cut the call as fast as she could. Got a call from her husband, again, asking if I want to check. Later that night sister called me and finally apologized for her and my nephew's behavior. I told her I'm okay with it now, but she needs to understand why I'm so angry. She said she finally did when the judge laid it out. I guess this is it for this one. Not the best outcome but an outcome. I figure I'll get the poster back from repair early next year. My son married my daughter-in-law who was diagnosed with a progressive disease after 2 years of marriage when her health deteriorated. My daughter-in-law became more disabled faster than her doctors or she expected. There were many hospitalizations and eventually she became bedridden and dependent for everything on my son and caregivers. My husband I helped with care and money. She died a little over a year ago after they'd been married for almost a decade. I am very proud of my son for how he lived up to his vows. I am sorry that my daughter-in-law had a short life and there were times we were close and I loved her, but I'm just going to say flat out that she could be a difficult person. When we met her she was nice and brought a lot of fun to my son's life, but as time went on she became sometimes cruel and angry, and I'm sure her poor health and depression affected that. She refused to get therapy. She lashed out at my son sometimes. When she died my son told me he felt guilty because he cried because the burden was gone. Her parents have a lot more money than my son or we do. They paid for a very expensive wedding with hundreds of their friends and acquaintances, but over the whole time of her illness only gave about $2,000, and that was in birthday and Christmas presents. My son asked them to contribute more once, but they refused. My son stayed at a job he didn't like because the health benefits were good and he made good money instead of pursuing his dreams. Her parents never spent any time helping her physically and very little with her at all. Her mother told me it was too depressing. They were traveling and had a lot of social engagements. My husband and I are putting off retirement because of the money we gave to help the children. When my daughter-in-law was dying we called them on their vacation and they didn't come back until 2 days after she died. Outside of the funeral I only saw them once at the grocery store, which is where I lost it. They said hello to me and explained to a couple they were with who I was. The way they talked it felt like they were glorying in being the bereaved parents to an audience. They kept talking, even to the checker. Soaking up the sympathy. It was so fake, I thought. I exploded and told them off. I called them horrible people. I think I mentioned every time they acted badly to my son and daughter-in-law. I called them idiots and a lot of other swear words I don't use. I followed them out to their car shouting until they drove away. I kept yelling horrible people. I have never acted like that before. I'm too embarrassed to go back to that store. I don't feel like I'm an idiot, but maybe I should feel that way. They did lose their only child and I can't see in their hearts. And I was thinking about the money and not just how they hurt their daughter by not being there for her. I also think I really scared the couple they were with. I could tell they thought I was deranged. I keep hoping to see them again so I can verbally attack them. I know that would make me the asshole, but I still think about it. Not the idiot, in reality you were the grieving parent that she never had sadly. They are so horrible people and indeed terrible people. They chose social engagements and vacations over their dying child and think they get to play the loving grieving parents and get away with that. This post made me so angry. You are a good person for restraining yourself just to verbal stuff. I would have started throwing crap at them. My heart breaks for your daughter-in-law and son and family. Thankfully she had your family in her last days and passed away feeling loved. Not the idiot. I don't know what you said other than horrible people, but next time try to calmer and more specific if they don't run away first. If you cared so much for your daughter, why were you on vacation when she died, even though we contacted you and told it was the end? Why did you only visit X times per year? Why didn't help with any of her care bills while I did? Not the idiot, but I agree with other commenters. Maybe some therapy is in order for you and your son. The catharsis of knowing such absent parents got to feel the brunt of your anger is, I must confess, a little satisfying, even if you aren't proud of it. Maybe, at least, they'll think twice about the whole milking the fact my child died for sympathy points thing, even if they do miss their daughter. I'm not even sure how to make this make sense, but here goes. My husband and I have 3 daughters, the youngest of which is 14. We are and have always been a pretty close, laid-back family. We aren't religious but have always encouraged the girls to form their own beliefs. My youngest daughter, Rose, has always been a little different than the rest of us personality-wise. She's extroverted, we're introverted. She's in the popular group, not as academic, but very talented musically. I've always encouraged her pursuits and supported her, and she is very loved, but I can tell sometimes that she feels different. So these past few months she's been spending more and more time at her friend Autumn's house. Basically nowadays she wants to go over there on Friday afternoons and stay until Sunday. She's been going with them to church. I don't love that but have been cool about it because I want her to feel free to explore her own beliefs. And I also don't love that she's been spending so much time away from home. I've allowed it out of a sense of guilt because her father and I both have to work most weekends. And I work overnight so we can't really do many fun family activities on the weekend. My problem is that lately I've been getting a bad vibe from the whole situation. I've seen texts on her phone with Autumn's mom. She is constantly telling her how much she loves her and is now a total part of their family. She seems to feel some sort of ownership over Rose's weekends and even tried to get her to spend all of Easter weekend with them. I put my foot down about that because we had plans already and I just feel like holidays are a time for family. Now Rose is invited to their house for Mother's Day weekend, which is also going to be a no because I'm off work and it's Mother's Day. They want her to go on vacation with them this summer for a month. That's gonna be another no. I just feel like it's inappropriate. But Rose loves it over there and doesn't ever want to be home anymore. Basically I just have this crazy feeling that this mother is trying to adopt my daughter out from under me. They're evangelical Christians and I feel like maybe they're trying to save her from us. I don't know if I'm crazy or paranoid. I want to put a stop to this. I want to stop letting her go over there at all. I've let it go on this long because I feel so guilty that I can't give her whatever it is that they can. I have to work long hours, I don't have a choice, and she's a stay-at-home mom. They're pretty well off and we're middle class through and through. But Rose hasn't done anything wrong and she's going to see this as a punishment. I already feel like I'm losing her and I'm worried that if I make her cut off contact I will push her even further away. I guess I'm a crap mother through and through either way, but am I the idiot if I go with my gut and stop her relationship with this other family? I'm worried that if I make her cut off contact I will push her even further away. I suspect that's exactly what could happen. Inviting someone else's daughter over for Mother's Day was a super idiot move. I'd hold the line on that one, but I'd try to work out a compromise on other visits. Maybe talk to this other mom and let her know that you understand how fond she is of your daughter, but you're pretty fond of her yourself, and you have some upcoming plans that conflict with some of her invitations. No idiots here. This is mainly an issue between you and Autumn's parents, so it's on you to meet up with them to discuss what you are and aren't comfortable with. Obviously, be appreciative that they're so welcoming to your daughter, but make it known that for any kind of holiday, that they do not extend an invitation since you'd want the family to spend it together, and telling your daughter she can't hang out with a different family only makes you look like the bad guy. You're the idiot if you completely stop her relationship with them. You're not the idiot if you don't stop her, yet set boundaries as to how much time she spends over there. As a former Christian who grew up in a Christian household, I wouldn't put it past them to be trying to accept your daughter into their family for some purposes. I agree with you on not letting her go and spend as much time as she would like with them, as family time is definitely more important and too much is just too much. Maybe instead try replacing that time with fun things that you all as a family could do, such as a night out doing something that she likes to do for fun. Long story short, I have been a surrogate for 3 friends and their partners and have started my own family along the way. Surrogacy is something I found very fulfilling. 2 of them were for couples who couldn't have a baby, and the other was just for a friend who wanted to embrace parenthood on her own. In every pregnancy I've had, I've asked for just hospital visits covered and maybe some odd cravings delivered to me at 3 a.m. All my friends have gone above and beyond helping me through all my pregnancies, and I've been involved in their new lives and the children I've given birth to since day one. I will admit it's hard at times to let go of them, since they have been with me for 9 months, but seeing their parents ecstatic just makes it all go away. About a month ago I get a call from my twin sister, who has been married for about 10 years now. It's obvious to everyone in the family that I've apparently absorbed all the fertility out of her when we were on the womb. Me and my sister have never gotten along for some odd reason, and we barely ever talk now. We were never overly bitter at each other, we were always just interested in different things growing up. She basically goes straight to business, like always, and tells me that her and her husband have finally decided that I would be their surrogate. Now I'm taken aback by how straightforward this was, since I've heard nothing about this from anyone. I just tell her I can't since I've already decided I wouldn't have any more kids, and that's when the whole mess starts. She asks me if it's not some sort of business I've started to help me and my family financially. She gets upset and demands why I would rather have kids for other people and asks me if I really hate her so much. I ask why she can't just adopt or have someone else be their surrogate, and she says she and her husband have decided that having the child be more biologically close to them would be best. I'm taken aback by this because I have never loved my oldest son less because he was biologically different to us. This really upsets me, and I hang up. The next month would be hell from all sides. My dad calls and asks me why I would rather have other men have at me than help my own sister fulfill her dream of having a family. My mom calls me crying and demands to know why I love my friends more than my own sister. The real freaking kicker is when my brother-in-law's mother calls me and basically guilt trips me by saying that their whole family has had trouble with fertility and their only wish is to see their son be happy. Now I just feel extremely guilty and I'm questioning my own decisions despite my husband telling me if I've decided enough is enough, then no one can tell me otherwise. Am I the idiot for having other people's kids but not helping my sister? What the actual hell is this? They didn't ask you. You're not a spare flipping womb, and the fact you did something wonderful for other people does not entitle your family to free use of you. You get to decide if you have kids, and you have every right to be tired of it. You're not having babies in a box under the stairs to give out to everyone. You're not an idiot. Your family sounds like they are being horrible. The fact that she called to inform you that we're going to have a child for you is all the information needed. She didn't ask. She didn't want to have a conversation about it. When she didn't get immediate compliance with her demand, she jumped straight to having family members harass you about it. She's an idiot. Your parents are idiots. Her mother-in-law is an idiot. Every other person who has gotten involved on her behalf is an idiot. She could have asked to discuss things with you like an adult, but she didn't. You absolutely have a right to decide when and if you will be pregnant. You do not have to be a surrogate just because you were asked and have done it before. If you're done being pregnant, you're done, and that's okay. OP, you are not required to do this for anyone. Your sister's whole approach was rude and dismissive of you. Her audacity to act and believe that, because she's now ready to have a child, you will just drop everything and agree to be her surrogate is beyond ridiculous. Also, your parents enabling that and not even asking for your side before berating you is upsetting. Listen to your husband, you decided you were done, and that is fine. I'd also recommend taking a break from blocking any family members who are trying to pressure you into this.